Burhan Khalid. I'm going to give a small presentation. It's going to be very lighthearted. It's going to be very easy, relaxing. It's not going to be that technical. I had such a hard time developing this presentation because there's so many things that I could talk about when it comes to Google because I use it for every day. Even when I'm sleeping, my phone is on and it's doing stuff. So I had a difficult time trying to understand how to present what Google offers to developers. But before I begin that, just a show of hands, how many here are Google users? You're not developers, you're just users. Almost everyone. Okay. No one has tried Android development, right? No one knows anything about it. Okay. So then you're in my boat, where I was a few years ago, because. Oh, sorry. Excuse me. Before I begin, some housekeeping things. I just made these slides while I was sitting here, so that's why I have these problems. Okay. If you need internet access, that's the username and password. You can ask questions anytime. Interrupt me in the middle. It's okay, I don't mind. Apologies in advance for the slides because I just made them when I was sitting here, so they're not very, very good. And of course, I'm reachable on Twitter 24 hours a day. That's my Twitter handle. Okay. All right, so when you first start with Google, here's one of the problems that you reach. There's so many things available from Google that you can do. It's a bit difficult. It's trying to figure out where do you start and how do you start using these amazing APIs, technologies, frameworks that are provided for free by a company whose ethos, whose main purpose of being is engineering. That's all Google does. They develop products and services, but that's just a side job. Their main focus, what they love to do is engineer and develop products and services. So you reach this scenario where you're like, there's so many choices and I don't know what to do. So how do I begin? So how do you start developing using Google tools? When you come to Google I/O events and you see these amazing technologies being showcased and you want to get started somewhere, it can get a bit difficult, a bit confusing. So how do you begin? The easiest way to start is to think of four things. There are four key areas that Google concentrates on. And for each one of these key areas, they have services, they have APIs. All right? I forgot my clicker, that's why I have to keep walking here. Okay, slide, there we go. These are the four areas that Google concentrates on. There's, of course, the Google Android, as you can see, lovely hardware hacking there. There is Google App Engine, which is the airplane on the corner. That is Google's application platform. It's their platform as a service product. So anyone here knows what platform as a service is? Okay, one guy knows. No one else knows. Two people know. All right. So let me start explaining what platform as a service is, in case you don't know and you want to know how to utilize it. Typically, when you develop an application and you want to host it on the internet, what you do is you go rent a server. And this server comes with some software on it. And then you go ahead and you install your application on top of this, and generally you maintain it yourself. This is the traditional method of developing applications and launching it. So if you wanted to create a website 4 years ago, this is what you would have done. You would have gone to a company to buy a domain. You would have gone to another company to rent a server. Then you would have logged in. You would have uploaded your code. Maybe you went and you used some control panel product to set up your systems. That's the way it has been done for a very, very long time. Then what happened, Amazon came along and they said, guys, what we're going to do is we're going to allow you to create any number of machines that you want for free, and we will manage them for you. Okay? That's Amazon Web Services, AWS. So that was a big, it was a watershed moment in internet development. What that meant was, you as a simple person, a guy who just found some scripts and started messing around with, now doesn't have to worry about, will my server crash? Do I have to keep maintaining it? Do I have to install antivirus, patches? That was taken care of it for you. All you had to do was go online, sign on with your Amazon account, 2 clicks, wait for a few minutes, your server is ready, here's your login, here's your password, go and have fun. And the best part about it was free. So they had a free layer that you could use. People started experimenting. Most services that you're using now on your cell phones as I'm talking are running on Google, running on Amazon Web Services. Foursquare, for example, runs on Amazon Web Services. Heroku, if anyone uses that, runs on Amazon Web Services. So that's how it started. The next step on top of that was, company said, okay, we're going to take care of the hardware for you, we will take care of the operating system for you, and then we're going to install the application servers on top, for example, a web server, and we're going to manage this entire stack for you. All you have to do is upload your code and let it run. You don't have to do anything else. That's what platform as a service is, because now you're providing the entire platform for you. Google App Engine, the little airplane in the corner, is Google's application as a service platform. Okay, 10 guesses for my password. Okay, so Google App Engine. Chrome, everyone knows. Chrome is actually Google's application platform for the web. Okay, so when they promote their Chromebooks, they want developers to write applications that run directly in the browser using some enhanced APIs that they have released for Chrome. Of course, everyone knows Android. This is actually technology that Google bought. Android was a free project, and Google acquired it, and they expanded it. And of course, HTML5, which is a set of very, very rich APIs that Google provides for you to develop and helps you get in tune with what's the next web that's coming along. So when you want to start with Google, you pick one of these four main areas. So either you want to write an application using Google services and run it, so you go to Google App Engine. If you want to develop a mobile application, there's the Android green monster. If you want to just find out a better way to write web applications, you go with HTML5. And there are lots of great toolkits from Google available for HTML5. For example, if you're writing an application that has to draw graphs, you don't have to worry about drawing the graph. Google provides an API for you. You send it the data, it'll send you back the graph. And the graph is very nice. You can click on it, points. So it's taken care of that for you. And of course, the next platform for developing applications, which is the web, for which they have Chrome products. Okay? So there is, oh, you ruined my slide. This is the end. Okay. All right, no problem. So now it's time for a demo. So all the stuff that I talked about, I'm going to show you now how do you get started. So how do you find out where all these services are? How do you log in? How do you discover these things? So it's time for a demo. I'm going to lose the mic. Hopefully everyone can hear me because I need to type. So it's time for a demo. The first thing you need to do, obviously, is you need to have a Google account. Google doesn't work without your Google account. The next thing you need to do is you need to memorize this address, which is developers.google.com. Okay. This is the landing spot if you're a developer and you want to play with Google. Okay. As you can see, because there is a Google I/O event on, we have I/O related information up there. Okay. Once you land on this page and you are logged in, click on products. Now, it didn't used to look like this when I started with Google. It used to be just a very, very raw page, like someone just spent 5 minutes to put up a bunch of links and go ahead with it. But Google realized that as their platforms get more and more popular, what they call recreational programmers wanted to use their APIs. And so they tailored their systems now more towards the recreational programmer, which is what you are. Basically, if you're not a professional programmer, you like to hack around and you want to see what's out there. So what they did, they divided the screen up into various sections. So they ask you, so what do you want to do today? Basically, you arrived at Google Developer, so what do you want to do? So you are either mobile developer, which is here, so which is what I talked about, is Android. You're a startup, which means they'll take you through the process of developing your applications and hosting them properly. This is what people most remember Google for, which is the webmaster. If you remember PageRank and check your links and are your links dead, it's the very first thing that Google came up with in terms of an API. There's games developer and then there's web developer. You can start off here based on what your interest is. Or what I like to do is you scroll down. This is basically their tool set. So anything that you do up there, it's coming from a combination of all these. And Google is constantly adding to this, and it's an exercise in itself to keep up with all the new APIs. All right? Just to give you an idea of what's out there, let me show you this thing called the API console. This is my login. You can see I'm logged in on here. Okay. As you can see, it's not a small list. These are all the APIs that Google provides that you can subscribe to do various things. And later on in my presentation, I'll show you how actually I use these APIs daily in my work. So just to give you a few ideas, some of the ones you're probably familiar with, some of them are very, very new. For example, my colleague was talking about analytics earlier. There's actually an analytics API that Google exposes, and I'll tell you how we use it where I work. It's very, very interesting and very, very exciting. Some of the things are very old, but there's some really cool, neat stuff. For example, there's this Drive API, which I'm playing with these days, which lets you manipulate documents that are stored on Google's devices. We'll talk later in my presentation about the Cloud SQL and the Cloud Storage APIs. There's, of course, Google Maps, which everyone's probably familiar with. So if you land on this page, you can go ahead and if you want to start working with something, you log in and all you do is you say, okay, for my account, turn this on. And what happens, assuming the internet works, is that you get a terms and conditions page. You just click I accept, and that's it. Now your account is ready to use this API. And just okay, so let me just turn this one on. See what it does. Okay, there you go. That's it. Simple as that. Now your account is set up to use this service. On the left, you have API access. This tells you what how do you log in, because there's a key that you have to use. I'll show you my key. You can copy it if you want, because it's not my actual account. So you use the OAuth keys to log in. Okay, this is how you log in. Billing is very important. There's a lot of stuff that's free. There's always a free limit. If you go to the API services list, it'll tell you how much of it you can utilize for free. So you see here the courtesy limit, so you can have 100,000 requests per day with the AdSense hosted API. After that, they will bill you. And in order for you to actually use any of these, you have to have a Google Checkout account, which works in Kuwait, so no worries there. And they will not bill you if you don't reach the limit. Okay? I've been using this now for a few months now, and I haven't billed 1 cent. So some of the requirements there. Okay? Again, the website is developers.google.com, which is their main landing page. This is code.google.com. As you can see, it looks a bit different. Previously, the entire Google website used to look like this. Even Gmail, everything. But now they became all fancy and started redesigning, which is very nice. All right. Okay? So far, so good. Let's get back to the presentation. But this is my first time using Google I/O. Okay, so we were here. Let me start this again. And we were here. So I promised I'll tell you how I use Google APIs. This is actually what I do at my job. I'm a development manager, so I'm in charge of whatever development happens at the bank that I work in. So we use Google in very, very different ways, and interesting ways. First, and the easiest way you can see how we use Google, if you go to our website and you click on our branch locator, this is using the Google Maps API, which is very, very easy to start with. You know, you can drop your pins, it's animation, you can do distance calculations. We actually use the Analytics API to pull in data that Google is collecting for us using Google Analytics and generate our own in-house dashboards for management reports. So we don't have to have people go ahead and log into Google Analytics, because it can get a bit difficult. It's a very nice interface, but it can get a bit difficult for management people to figure out what they want. So instead of trying to go and generate reports on Google Analytics, what we did was we just pulled in all the information. We have our own reporting dashboard that we use. BigQuery is what I'm going to talk about today in my presentation. This is something very exciting. It's data analytics. These are things that I'm working on now that I like, that if you want to play around with, you should start with the Google App Engine. It's very, very easy to start with. You just download a few files, very, very nice tutorials available. And it's very quick. You just run your command and you'll see it. It's amazing. You'll see it on Google's server design. So it's very, very nice. Try this with your playground. The other thing that for some of the more advanced guys out there, Google just announced the Git Kit, which is the SSO OAuth 2 framework for them. So basically your site can now accept visitors, Facebook, MSN, Hotmail, so it's tied in with Microsoft, tied in with, of course, obviously Gmail, and various other providers, even Yahoo Mail, so you don't have to create your own accounts, obviously, single sign-on, so anyone can log in with any of their credentials to your site. So it's a very easy framework for use. They just started it now. You guys can go ahead and try that out. Okay. Data analytics, which is the thing that I'm okay. Everyone tells you that data is exploding, that there is an explosion of data, 2 terabytes, 6 petabytes, drives keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So why is this of a concern for all of us? If you want to have a good career in computer science and you're young enough, you should get into data analytics. You're going to be a very, very hot commodity in the market because that's where the future is headed as far as computing is concerned. All these devices that you see in the market today, if you were at yesterday's conference, you saw that Android has now 400 million activations a day or something like that. It's a really strange number. All this data is being collected somewhere, and someone has to go ahead and figure out and get value out of this data. And that's where the next computing is going to come from data analytics. So what is data analytics? This is a very, it says degree of intelligence. That doesn't mean you're not intelligent. It just means how intelligent is that place. Okay? So most people are here in this blog, which I'm sorry you cannot see that, but when you start and you're learning databases, you're here. See, query databases. Why exactly is the problem? And then most people reach this stage, which is alerts, like, hey, alert me when there's an issue. Alert me when my server's fan speed gets very high or my hard disk minimum space gets very low. So that's basically where you start. And alert means tell me what I need to do. Like there's a beep, okay, do this. That's basic data analytics. But the real value comes up when you go to the darker blogs, which is statistical analysis, which is why is it happening? Okay, the fan is hot, but why is it hot? Is it hot because I'm running some really, really extreme data write application that's making my hard drive spin, which is triggering the temperature sensor on the motherboard to turn the fan up, and that's why my metric is going up. Next thing up beyond that is forecasting, which is like weather forecasting. It's predicting what's going to happen next. And if you know what's going to happen next, then you can kind of analyze what data is going to be needed at that time, which is predictive modeling. And finally, where everyone wants to reach is optimization. So you optimize the data that you have stored. So this is basically an overview of data analytics and business intelligence. There was a study done recently that said in the Middle East, the second highest budget item for IT is business analytics and data intelligence. The first item was virtualization.
Was what?
Virtualization. And after that, it was BI and data analytics. So very, very interesting stuff if you want to get into it. Okay. This is actually a screenshot from my workplace. This is my office desk. To give you an idea of what I mean by data explosion. We do backups every day. As you know, we're at a bank. This is, it says here 200 gigabytes per day is our backup. This is compressed 1 to 6. So if you're a mathematician, you can figure out how much actual raw data we're backing up every day. And it's not because we like to back up, it's because we have to back up. There are regulations for us. You know, we don't want to store all the data. This is our monthly backup that we do, and gigabyte amounts. And then I asked one of my team to tell me, hey, how much actual information do we have out there that we need to analyze? So they gave me these 2 screenshots. Okay. One at the bottom, you see this number here? 3, 5, 4, 6, 7, logical. This is compressed total storage that we have. It's about 35, 30, something terabytes of information that we have. Okay? And on top, it's how it's distributed. Since many of you or maybe are not from banking, this is AIX is basically the system that runs the bank. So whenever you go to ATM, plug in your card, it starts with AIX. That's why it has the most information. Mail is obviously email. It's the least number of files. Again, this is compressed. When we uncompress this, it's 8 to 1 ratio compression. Okay. And of course, NT is the Windows backup that we do every day. So as you can see, large amounts of data. The smallest query that we do is across 6 million rows, which is simple analytics that we do. It has to be a faster way. I don't want to sit there and wait for my computer to crunch the numbers. So what do you know? Google has a service that allows you to do that, which is, they just announced, okay, it's not quite demo again, which is Google BigQuery. BigQuery is a service from Google that allows you to upload large data sets. It's BigQuery. So whatever you think is big in terms of data, it's very small when it comes to big data analytics. 6 million is very small when it comes to big data. It's tiny. It goes through it like that. They're talking about 485 million row table, which is all the birth names of all the children that were registered in the US since refugee camp. And if you query that, I'll show you a demo of it now. If you query that information in Google Analytics, it takes like 5 seconds. As a point of reference, for me, to do a query on my 4 million row record, it takes 1 minute and 38 seconds. That's if I'm very careful and I only choose the columns where I know there's an index in, so I know what I'm doing. So very, very good. Let me show you a demo of what I'm talking about. Okay. This is going to get very boring very quick, so I apologize. Because this is something not everyone's interested in. Okay. This is Google BigQuery. Same way to get started with it. You just go ahead and you sign up at the website that I'll show you. Okay. As you can see, I was playing with it. So these are the recent queries that I've done. Over here is a set of public data sets that you can use to play with. So this is really interesting. If you want to know what activity is going on GitHub, this is all the data of all the GitHub projects. You can find out what's the most popular project. This is I was playing with it here. This is the query that I ran on the GitHub set. But basically what this allows you to do is either you query your public data, which is available here, or you create your own data set, which is your own information, and it's private, only you can see it, or your team members can see it. You upload it to Google, and you tell Google to optimize it for very, very fast queries. And what Google does is it sets it up for you, and then provides you an API, so you can query that data and create your own dashboards out of it. Okay? That's the whole point of BigQuery. That's what's called big. It's BigQuery. Give you an idea of how big. Let's take this table here. Okay. It's 3.54 gigs is the size of the table. It has 6,219,000 rows. This is for GitHub. Now, that's actually small. If you check this guy, which is what I was talking about, the birth, see that? 137 million rows. That's getting something. It's medium. So very, very interesting data that you can do. Now, why am I telling you all this and why am I boring you to death? Because there's a treat in the end. Close it? Yeah. No, don't tell me.
Unclose. Reopen close them.
No, where is that? My drive. Share with me, star, listen. I love Google. I love Google. This is my first time doing it. Alright, here we were here at the second day. I apologize in advance, as I said, so we don't see it anymore. We were here. So why am I telling you all this? Because this is what I was going to demo today, but I just didn't have time to make all the slides. How do you create your own data dashboard using Google Query? So if you're interested in this talk, let me know, the organizers know, so we can arrange a seminar for you guys to come in. It's really, really interesting. This is what you would need in order to get the data dashboard going. Obviously, a Google account, laptop, internet access. No one of the supported languages. I'll use Python in the example. You need to download the App Engine SDK, and then you need to sign up for BigQuery. I'll like to show you. And what will happen at the end of the session? You will end up developing something like this, which is from the data that I just demoed, the 615, rows of all the birds in the U.S. So we will figure out how to develop this data bush, the dashboard from scratch, and it's active. So, for example, we can click, and we'll be connected. This is actually made using the same APIs that I showed you now. So this is what you do. And when you're done with the exercise, you'll have all the knowledge you need to go and upload your own data. It doesn't have to be very big. It can be small data, and generate these lovely graphs for you. All these graphs, by the way, are done by Google, so you don't have to figure out, the color of the lines and all that. They figure all that out. So all you have to do is upload your data and tell it the query that you want. So for example, now you can drill down and you can have, see, scroll down here, and all this is given to you for free, basically. The only problem with this, which is currently what I'm facing, is that you need to have internet access. It doesn't work when your internet's out. That may not seem like a big problem, but it's an issue if you work where internet access is restricted. Okay. Luckily for all of you, this is my last slide. Okay. And I'm done with my presentation. Hope it was something that you enjoyed and you guys can go ahead and use some of the features I highlighted. It's very interesting to spend like half an hour and go through it. That's it, because the keynote is about to start. Any questions, really quickly? Can I take them? If not, great. Thank you for your time. Yes?
Quick. How is the Arabic support for the graphics that you used? I mean, the graphs and charts API.
Honestly, I haven't tried it yet. It's a good question. I'll research and I'll let you know. You reminded me with Arabic. I had some ideas of the kind of data that you could use for Google Analytics. For example, you can get the first 4 digits of the civil ID and find out, for example, what's the average age of the population in Kuwait. Where are the oldest people in Kuwait? Where are the youngest people in Kuwait located? And you can put it on a map and analyze that. You can take, for example, weather data, which is publicly available, and find out what's the hottest day. What's the average temperature during June? What's the worst day to go to the beach? What's the best day to go to the beach? Things like that. So very, very interesting stuff that doesn't have anything to do with deep analytics. Okay? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.